It's me, Trevor Church of Haunt. I'm with my good friend Ian Watts of Ape Machine and many other things, man. What's going on, dude? How you doing, man?
Hey man, doing well. Thanks for having me on here.
You bet, man. I've been actually really looking forward to having you because of the vast history that you and I have, man. We go way back. I was actually thinking today, I was like, you're one of the few people out there that have actually seen like Beastmaker form into different categories. I think you saw us when we did thrash, we did a little metal. We weren't even a
Yep.
doom band when we started. We were
No,
trying to
no.
do we were trying to I was actually trying to think of some of the songs. We had these songs like Running with the Heathens, Bell of War. I was like really trying to go back. I was like, man, he was, you were there early on in that because we hadn't even played outside of Fresno. But you guys, Ape Machine, you really had you started to get like set some roots here in
Yeah,
Fresno.
yeah, yeah, for
You know,
sure.
like Audie's was at the time. I felt like it was a good place for bands to come. Ape Machine was getting a lot of love. It's just weird that I was running around with Caleb in Sacramento way back in the day, and we used to talk about doing like a Black Sabbath thing, like
Nice.
way before
Way
Ape
back,
Machine.
yeah, back in the indie rock years.
But yeah, in the indie rock shit, I was doing session work. I wasn't even really in a band. I was just like there for whatever somebody needed. I never fit into any band. Nobody ever, like, at that period of time, you couldn't find anybody that was into the same shit. It was like so skewed. But like when I met Caleb and he was like into Black Sabbath, I was like, all right, this dude's cool. This dude's gonna be my homie. But how did you guys like start coming here anyway, man?
Man, that's like taking it back to the before ages when there was MySpace. you
Oh
know, I
yeah. Oh
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure it had something to do with MySpace. But I remember talking to you like right away too, because you know, Caleb was like, "Oh yeah, my buddy Trevor lives in Fresno, and you should hit him up." And so I think simultaneously I was like emailing you, asking you if there were places to play. And then on MySpace, I think somehow we had found Style Like Revelators.
Yeah.
And we started like, chatting with them on the MySpace Messenger or something. And somehow it just like worked out where we booked a gig with them. And I don't think you guys played that one, but you were there, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was there.
And we just instantly like hit it off with those guys and hanging out with you. And it was just like, I think the Sacramento connection and everything. It
Yeah, I
just
mean, I knew Brian too, man. We
yeah.
can't leave out Brian because he was one of the homies as well out there. So I definitely ran around with him sometimes too. So, we
Yeah.
had we definitely had that. I can't fucking god damn it, I can't remember the name of your drummer, but we actually stayed at his house in San Diego a bunch of times.
Oh
What was
yeah,
his
Damon. Yeah.
Damon? Fuck, I remember seeing Damon for the first time and being like, dude, this guy is a fucking animal. And I mean, at that time, I remember like Soldati, my drummer, from Beastmakers and Haunt now. I remember him being like, dude, Ape Machine is fuck, dude. They're fucking sick. And he was absolutely right. That first album you guys did was like really at the time really up there. Like there's some shit on there. You were one of the first dudes I saw with like good gear. The band had like everything going on for it at that time. There wasn't a lot, like if you look
No.
back like at
Yeah.
those times, it was
Yeah.
slim fucking pickings as far as bands out there. I
Yep.
mean, I mean it put some age on us for sure, but
Yeah, well,
You
yeah,
know, you
I've
did
got a
it.
gray
You
beard
did it
now.
before. I won't even grow a beard anymore. That fucking thing looks like it looks crazy to me. I'm like the curtains don't match the drapes yet, bro. I'm like when this goes, and it is. It's like it's fading. I don't know if your hair color is like
Oh, it's getting there, yeah.
vanishing and it's vanishing into the yonder. This used to be dark brown. It's like red now. I don't even know what this is. But anyway, I remember him being like, dude, these guys are fucking heavy. This is awesome shit. And I actually like I remember the first time we like played with you guys, I was so fucking nervous because like I was just getting like sober, like I might have been maybe you met me when I became like alcohol free. I wasn't drinking. So
Yeah,
we've known each other for 14 years.
yeah,
So I was like I wasn't used to playing shows without a beer yet, nothing. And here you are at that time just like we were just fucking blown away at your abilities and honestly like like you had cool shit. You had the orange. I remember you had like kind of like a stereo rig going on at the time, and always, you guys always sounded like really good. The band was tight, and you could tell like there was some real magic there. And Fresno loved you guys.
yeah, yeah,
It's
totally.
it's
It
rough.
became
I
like
know it's rough now because Audie's is gone, and that vibe is vanished from here. And I've seen it happen more than once at this point in time. From we used to have a place called Starlight that shut down. It's now Strummers, and then you got
right. I remember
Audie's
Starlight. Yeah,
Audie's shut down, and now like it kind of made it to where you guys haven't played Strummers though.
not as strong. No, you're right. Yeah, I think I've only played there one time, and it was actually even before Ape Machine, and it was back when it was Starlight
Yeah, it
in
had to be
a
Starlight.
previous band.
That
Yeah.
place. That's been a venue for a long fucking time. That goes way the fuck back. So that first record that you guys did, that was on Ripple or who put that out?
No, we did. We just
You did.
self.
That was a self release.
Yep. Yeah, first 2 records we did as a self-release.
That had that sick artwork with like a head and like some abstract shit coming out of it, right?
Yeah, that was actually the 2nd record, but we put them out, like, really, one right after the other. So the first record came out, May of 2010, and that one, we actually had 2 guitar players on that record, and then we followed that up, like, a year later almost exactly with that 2nd record called Ward Ahead, and that's the one with all the psychedelic shit coming out of
Yeah,
the out of
yeah.
the head.
No, I mean for the time that was clutch, man, because like I said, like there wasn't a lot of dudes, there wasn't a lot of bands, especially there wasn't a lot of bands in California. You had like Orchid,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they barely ever played. You would it was like fucking like you struck gold if you saw Orchid because like they played one show every year, and
right.
it is at San Francisco somewhere, and it was like you wouldn't even known it happened because like you were saying it was like back before like Facebook was just like kind of barely becoming a thing,
Yeah,
barely.
right.
So we didn't have all these event posts. You had to find shit out through MySpace or friends or whatever. What up, David? But anyway, man, I didn't know that those were independent releases. That's
Yeah.
pretty wild. You guys did vinyl, you did all that. And how did you guys start Ape Machine anyway, man? I don't really know the story.
Yeah, so, as you know, well, obviously, because you knew Caleb and Brian from Sacramento,
Yeah.
and I knew those guys from there too, and Caleb had actually joined my, like, indie rock band in Sacramento back in, like, 2004 or some shit, and we we hit it off. He and we were like, "Fuck yeah, I totally dig what you're doing. Let's do this shit." And then the other guys kind of mutinied on us. And, because we had had a previous singer who had quit, Caleb came in, had a totally different style. So these other 2 guys, they were like, "Oh, we don't like him. He's too wild for us. He's, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "You guys are nuts." So, we broke up the band, and then I was like, at that time, I was like, "Man, there's not enough of a musician pool here in Sacramento. I want to get the fuck out of here." And Caleb was like, "Well," and I was talking about moving to Seattle, and he was like, "Well, I don't want to go to Seattle." He's like, "If you move to Portland, though, I'll go to Portland." So I was like, "All right, let me go check it out." So I came up to Portland, and anyway, moved up to Portland to open a recording studio. Long story short, took Caleb about a year, but about a year later, actually, Brian came up first. Brian hit me up out of the blue and was like, "Hey, I'm moving to Portland. Can I crash on your couch for a couple weeks?" And I was like, "Sure, dude. Yeah, right. Come on." And then Caleb came up a few months later and was like, "Hey, I'm moving to Portland too." And I was already in a band at that point, this indie rock kind of psychedelic band called Min May, and that band lost its bass player, and I was like, and Caleb's like, "Well, how do I get on the road?" And I said, "Well, join Minmay playing bass." And he was like, "Okay." So he did. So he joined that band, and we started touring around with him playing bass and me on guitar in that band. But then the singer of that band moved to Germany and basically quit the band. And so then Caleb and I were like, "Well, shit, let's just start a new project with the 2 of us." And of course, we called Brian True, and he came over. And so that was the beginning of Ape Machine.
How'd you guys come up with that name, Ape Machine? Because it's kind of a strange name.
Yeah, well, I don't have the board anymore. I wish I did, but this is my current board. This is my Euphonics. But before this
Yeah.
board, I had a Neotech, and the Neotech on the patch bay had tape machine inputs written above one of the patches, but the T was ripped off. So
So
it
it
said
just said
Ape
Ape
Machine.
Machine. So it came off the motherboard, came
Yeah,
off of the fucking, came off of the where the magic happens. I remember you guys telling. I remember hearing something about it, but I didn't want to get it incorrect, and because there's you guys have done a lot of different interviews over the years, and plus like you know I've known you for so fucking long, and my respect for you is always, I'm always like, I've always been like, what the fuck is Ape Machine doing? Because you guys, I go way the fuck back. So I'm trying to think here when we actually, so it was weird because like Ape Machine at the time, you guys were touring pretty heavily. Hold on, I gotta sneeze.
yeah, go for it.
ah.
Nice.
Anyway, you guys were touring pretty heavily during those times, man. I remember you like
Yeah,
leased a van or bought a van and you're fucking doing it. And I'm just trying to think here because I remember there was one point where Beastmaker somehow was getting somewhere. I don't know if I think I had just like I don't know if I had just signed with Rise Above Records or if it was after, but I remember going down to LA and playing with you guys.
yeah, yeah. We did. What did we do? 2 or 3? I know we did LA and San Diego. I feel
I
like we
just remember
probably
trying to
did.
carry up all our gear up a massive flight of stairs.
Oh
And
man,
it was brutal. It was somewhere in Hollywood. I think the place is
On the
long.
Rocks or something, probably. The
One of those
upstairs of the
things.
Roxy, maybe.
But man,
Yeah. I remember.
Like looking at you guys and kind of like the few bands that are popping out. You know, I have my homies in Ape Machine touring, doing. You guys were, I think you had already gone to Europe at that point too. I think and done like Freak Valley and all that and shit, right? Didn't you guys have
Yeah.
art some of that under your belt? I mean, like I was like, man, these guys are fucking killing it. They're my friends. Like I don't why I want to be too I want to be doing that. And like finally there's the point where we finally like I don't know, I don't think we actually played in Fresno together after the Rise Above Beastmaker era. I think we only played together as we were trying to get our our wheels on the ground. And
Yeah.
it what a fucking shift. I mean, I could not have foreseen that in a million fucking years. I remember talking to Andy. We were just having a really hard time locking in a bass player. We met John, Tucker. Finally have a guy that's like kind of into it and like, at least he's like, down to go play, doesn't have a band. He had his other band before. I think you probably played with them. Did you play with Blind Bison or no?
We did. Yep. Yep, that's right.
I mean that so I mean you're like one of those dudes. So like I love that like you have some Fresno ties because like a lot of people don't. I brought bands here and stuff, but it's as you know, it's gotten harder here over the years. I mean, we played Fulton with you on a weekday and it was or whatever that was. And that place is brutal. You don't really get like I mean, I've seen a lot of shows there, a lot of good bands, and there'd be less people at shows with bands that have been around for 20 fucking years than our two bands. You know what I mean? It was just like,
Yeah.
whoa, man, this and it's a lot obviously because of Audie's being gone, like Audie's Olympic. For those that don't know, Fresno had like my home base, a lot of people's home base. Eight Machine obviously played Audie's a lot. We had this like really good like dive bar where you could get a show easy. He gave you the door. He didn't really. He's just like pay the sound guy. You
Yeah.
keep all the rest of the money. Kind of scenario, which
Yeah.
it either could be good or bad.
Well, yeah, and back then we were at least an Ape Machine, we were drinking too, so
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Audie's
Well, if you're yeah with
would get you nice and drunk, you know?
Audie will pour some drinks. I mean,
Yeah.
that's he gave me a start when I was still drinking, and he really like he would always tell me he's like you got good potential, Trev. You got to get your band together and get these guys tight. And I was just a train wreck. I had to stop drinking to actually have a band because like if I was gonna like be a leader, I couldn't be the drunk guy. Man, I just
Right,
was
right.
that
Yeah.
that shit wasn't gonna fly for what I was doing. But anyway, we're in Hollywood now, man, and we like finally I'm like, oh, we get to play Ape Machine and we get to play this like new music and I had all these like the future is bright kind of scenario in my mind, I was like, yeah. And then it seemed like things kind of went a slow down for you guys a little bit after that, no? Like Brian
Yeah,
left or Damon left or something.
yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
show, Damon didn't play that show.
Oh, right, you're right. No, the one I know which one you're thinking of, Ryan Moore played drums for that show. Yep. Yeah, that people kept moving around is what happened to us. So when we started the band, we all lived in we the 3 of us, me, Brian, and Caleb lived in Portland, and Damon was in Eugene, so he wasn't that far away. So,
Yeah.
we could get together pretty regularly and hash out new material and practice and do all the shit and tour together. We just hop in the van and go. But then, Caleb actually, Damon moved first. So then Damon was down in San Diego all of a sudden. So then we had to fly him up for everything. And, it just got to be tricky. Um, and so that slowed things down. And then Caleb got tired of sleeping on couches, and he had a job waiting for him in Sacramento doing live sound, which is what he loves to do. So
Yeah.
he ended up taking his job in Sacramento. So then we were flying two people around, and that slows shit down. It just does. It's reality. But
The big thing, say the N word. I'm gonna say it. Nice.
yes, nice.
Did he work for Ira? Is that who he had a gig with?
Yeah, for when he first went down there, yeah, and then Ira got him connected, I think, with some other spots, and now he's working at Thunder Valley, and I think he's working for a company now that does sound at Thunder Valley, and I think they also do stuff at like what's the arena, the what used to be the Arco Arena. I don't know what they call it now.
I have no fucking clue, but I saw Ira, so I went. I got to, obviously Sammy Hagar plays Thunder Valley all the time, and I'm friends with his son Andrew, and his son Andrew was having like his big debut, so I got in my car and drove all the way to fucking Thunder Valley,
Oh wow.
and I didn't. It was so I was just standing there, and Ira was like Trap, and I was like, whoa! I hadn't seen the guy. I mean, I used to party on Ira's porch back in the day. I
Oh yeah.
probably hadn't seen him in fucking 10 years, man. It was wild. But I was just curious because I know that Ira and all those cats down there in Midtown Sac, they were all like in cahoots, and everybody was friends, and everybody was trying to help each other out back then because nobody had any money and everybody was trying to do something. And it was part of that time. It was part of that time where everything was kind of like we didn't know what was going to happen, you know?
Oh yeah. No, we all slept on each other's couches.
So that was kind of like so after that, because like it was I remember so you had this drummer that was kind of not there, and then Brian left, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
that I felt was like your guys' biggest blow. Like drummer, okay, you can find another guy, but Brian, he was kind of a special bass player from my memory. Like, oh,
And
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so without Brian, it was kind of like, I mean, honestly, that's why we're going on, what, 6 years since our last record, because we've had to, Caleb and I have basically had to rethink how we're approaching the band at this point because, yeah, because, Brian was that integral to what we were doing before. So that's why the sound has shifted, obviously.
I don't think it shifted super far from the things that I've heard. You did do a record without him, right? You did that last one 6 years ago. That was
He
without
no,
Brian.
he was oh, he was
He was
on it.
on that. Goddamn internet. My internet's being fucking wacky again. Can you hear me? Okay, you're glitching on me, so I don't know I don't know what's going on right now. But as long as we could hear each other, I don't really give a fuck. I mean, that's just should I drink tonight or just buy some snacks? Somebody says. As the non-alcohol guy, I'm gonna say you should probably buy some snacks and save your money. There's better things to buy. Bass player, and then I see this era now. You came in and like you have Nick Navarro and goddamn my brain right now, homie that was working with you booking shows. He's your drummer or bass player now.
Bass player. So yeah, so I know that's kind of funny too. So Nick Navarro hopped on bass, and then we recruited Nick Harris on
Nick Harris.
drums.
That's right. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So then for a while we had both Nicks. And then Nick Navarro got busy with his record store, and Nick Harris, man, I can't even remember the order. It's all blur in my own mind, but Nick Harris was also busy with his own band Arm for Apocalypse that he plays drums in. And so at one point we recruited Dana Sims from Seattle to play drums, and Nick Navarro was still playing bass, but then Navarro got busy. So then I called Nick Harris and was like, "Hey man, what do you think about playing bass?" So now he's playing bass and Dana's on the drums.
Oh, and Dana is El Corazon, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
I mean, that couldn't have worked out any better for all of the bands that you help out. So now that we know we're kind of up to speed with Ape Machine, let's talk about your, because if you guys didn't know, Ian is actually Haunt's booking agent. He's been helping me out for God, at least now 5 years, at least, if not six.
Yeah. Yeah, probably I was gonna say maybe 6. Yeah. 2018 sounds about right.
Sounds about right, huh? Because like I had been with my first like booking agent outside of you was Dan Rosenblum,
Yep.
who I learned really quickly was going to take everything that any money that came my way. He was right for the taking, and that was crazy because Beastmaker was a weird band because like he never booked us a show ever. Like
Okay.
we went on a Monolord tour, and he became our booking agent.
Oh,
And
right.
then I started getting offers for other things, and like they weren't even going to him. Like like I would hit him up, "Hey, can you get us a show?" No. "Hey, can you get us a tour?" No. And I was just like, "Well, this is going really good." And I remember like I don't know what it was. I can't remember what exactly what it was, but we got on some festival, and my brain is such a fucking, I played so many shows now I can't remember. He sent me a bill for like $150, and I was like, "Oh shit, this motherfucker is like he didn't even do a contract, nothing. He did nothing at all." And then I knew that Blasco from that plays with like Rob Zombie, Danzig, and Zach Wild and shit. He was hitting me up and was like, "Yeah, I want to take you guys on tour." And I was like, "Oh, I'm firing Dan." Because like I was like, he was like, "We can only give you guys $150 a night." But so it turns out though that
Yeah.
it was actually 300. So they were giving us 150 for the show, and then giving us an extra 150 cash. I don't know, like buyout kind of situation. Yeah,
Yeah.
so like I didn't know that that was like what they were gonna do to
Bit
kind of
of
like
the thing. Yeah.
ease the pain, because it was painful. We had to start the tour in New York, but
Oh,
after
geez.
that,
Yeah.
I think we only did a couple more tours as Beastmaker. We did a
Yeah.
mothership run, and I think we did a run with the
Yeah.
Well.
I booked the Mothership one. And the Well, yeah, and the Well, I remember I had to bail you out on that one because you guys were missing a Saturday night in Portland.
Yeah,
So,
God,
so
yeah, you got us to
yeah,
Kenton or something.
yeah, I got it at the Kenton Club, and that show went off.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I booked the Well now too.
Well, you see, it like, how did you get started in booking? Was it just because you were having to do all? Because now now I know why we're friends. We're like the same. We're at the same level on so many ways. Like you put out your own records.
Yep.
You want to do your shit. Like you figure out a way how to get it done. Is that kind of how
Yep,
you got into booking? Was like, I need a fucking tour. Who else is gonna get us a tour? I'm booking it.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we grew up in the music scene, obviously, and when I was band that I was in, because we did full national tours in that band. So I kind of already had the routes in my mind, you know what I mean? So I just started hitting places up and I would book all the Ape Machine tours. And then the band who can't be named wanted to do a tour with us, and they were ironically with Atomic Music Group at the time, but their agent got a job at AGI, I believe, couldn't take them with them, so they lost their agent. And so they were like, "Well, we still want to do the tour with you guys. Can you book it?" And I was like, "All right, yeah, sure, I'll book the tour." So I booked the full national tour for both of our bands, and then at the end of the tour, they were like, "Okay, we want you to be our agent from now on." So I was like, "All right, sure, I'll be your agent," because at the time they were doing pretty well and things were going good, So I took them on as a full-time client and started booking their tours until, the scene. During that time, I started picking up other bands, people just started, it just sort of grew and grew, and then so I
Yeah.
and then I got so tone deaf. They wanted, they hit me up and were like, "Hey, you should join our agency." And so I did the
Oh, I
tone deaf
remember
thing
that.
for a while.
I that wasn't very long lived.
No, no, it lasted a little while, and then
I
and
remember
then
you're
that
like, "Hey, I'm with Tone Deaf now." And I was like, right on. I was like, "Congratulations. I hope it does better for you." And you're like, I think you hit me up like 6 months or maybe a year later, like, "I'm not with Tone Deaf anymore." I'm like, "Okay." I was like, "I don't fucking do. Wherever you're going is where everything's happening." So on top
yeah.
of all that, you also have Magic Closet Studio, yeah? As I can see, and you do. I mean, you're just like a renaissance man. You do a little, and you're like awesome at everything you do, man. Like honestly, like Ape Machine, sh- great guitar licks. You have a style of your own. I could definitely say that. Like when I've seen you play a slew of times now, and I've always been like, nobody really sounds like Ian. He does. He's in a league of his own thing and on your own trip. And your guys' record sounds good, and I know that you engineer those, mix, master, and do all that shit. And you're like, I mean, you've helped me in my own DIY recording realm. I'm all back in the day. I was like, what do you think of this? What should I be using? Like, what do I got to get in here? And like, you'd always give me some helpful pointers and things to get me, because I didn't have any money to go record. And like, let's face it, Fresno's whack. Where am I going to go? You know,
Right, yeah. Not exactly a
I'm
haven
not
for
gonna I'm not gonna get much of a better recording anywhere. It's gonna be pretty. I mean, there are guys now that are coming out that have like sunk some money into some studios and have like they do like good indie rock
sure.
shit, but like, I mean, but
Yeah.
it's
But
fucking
you've
five
you've
years, 6 years, 8 years too late. I couldn't even, you know what I mean? It's like
yeah, yeah.
it
Well, you
wasn't
figured
what
it out though. I mean, that's how it goes. Because it's like when when you have to get shit done and there's nowhere to do it, then you just kinda have to figure it out, right? So, you
I went in swinging and people ate it up, and I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like I knew it. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm like, I don't fucking know. I bought this microphone, plugged it in, I try to write a good song. And like it may have made like part of me thinks it was like it was a blessing because like people were looking for more like lo-fi music at the time. But my my whole thing where I saw myself was not in that
Yeah.
for much longer. It was like I need to escape it and I want to do bigger and badder things. Like I knew it. So that's why I just record it now and I send it to my homie Darren to do all his wizardry and make my shit sound like I recorded it in a nice studio.
Yep, yep.
Like
It worked.
ultimately because like and besides that, like I was getting really tired of hearing myself. I was like, man, I just want to write songs. I don't want to like sit here and try to get it to sound good. Like I'm never gonna get it. I'm never gonna be happy. And I was just like I felt like all my albums were just abandoned children. I was just like, I just can't anymore. I can't hear this song anymore.
Right.
And I just wish, like again, like sometimes it's just like I probably should have just had you do it in retrospective. I don't know why you didn't like let me mix this and make your shit sound better. But maybe you're just letting me figure shit out on my own, probably the way it needed to be. I don't know, but um yeah, I'm moving around because my internet is fucking. I can see my 5G. I don't know what's. There's actually a gnarly ass storm here earlier, which is funny to say in California because that doesn't happen very often. I mean, like thunder, it was insane. So I don't know if that's throwing everything off, but can you hear me right now
Yeah,
though? At
yeah,
least.
right now you're good.
All right. As long as you can hear me talking, like I said, I don't give a fuck about all the rest. But anyway, so I mean, you've done so much work for the traditional metal scene that I don't think anybody, because most of the people are probably going to stumble upon this, they're going to be like, who's Ape Machine? Because you guys weren't technically part of that. You're more the stoner rock, you know, um,
Right.
psychedelic rock, heavy music scene. Um, but goddamn, you brought Seven Sisters here. Without you, that would have never happened ever. I think you
Yep.
brought Screamer here like three fucking
3
times now.
3 times, yeah, yeah. They're just wrapping
Um,
up their 3rd.
you're basically Savage Master, even though Aaron Gray's their agent. You're basically their agent for 2025 because I know you just booked this tour that they just did. Yeah,
Yeah, and obviously you
yeah.
guys will be out of here
August.
pretty
Yeah,
soon. Yep.
August here. Um, and you also got fucking Traveler here as well.
Yeah,
You helped all
yeah,
those bands. And I mean, that's pretty big because like a lot of the bands, like I've always been like, help my friends, help. I'm always coming to your aid because you are
yeah,
that
well,
guy, even though I know that you have to like, now in your much more formative years, you can't do as much bullshit anymore. You got to kind of strike. Hey, John G's in here and says, Ian, you're a badass. And John G is the fifth member of Haunt.
oh,
He does all of my artwork
thanks,
and
John.
does all the stuff.
Dude, John's a badass. Yeah, he did one of our
He did
videos.
your
He did
guys' video,
wait,
yeah.
2 of our videos. What am I
Yeah.
talking about?
I
Yeah,
sent him your way. You're like, who did your shit? And I'm like, John G. I'm like,
yeah,
he's the
thank you
man.
for that.
So
Thank you, John.
it
Yeah.
all comes full circle here. And like again, it's kind of like a lot of people don't know, and that's why I was like, I wanted to have you on so badly, is because like I mean, nobody like I've been at it for a long time, and it's like I use like I've had like I have my friends that like have been helping me along the way, but it's like you're kind of like behind closed doors because you're the booking guy, and we don't go the booking guy, you
Right.
know, like even though like it always says AMG on the posters, nobody knows they don't know there's no
You don't know
face.
what that
There's
is,
no
right?
face to
Yeah, why would
AMG,
they?
you know, it's like but
Yeah,
that's why I wanted to have a talk with you is to, you know, be like, yo, this is my boy right here. He's helped me in my career so much. I mean, like, you know, obviously I've had like this weird circular thing happen. I've had fucking like more band member changes than Ape Machine at this point. And
right.
like
That's a
label
lot.
stuff like I've flipped, you know, I was on Shadow Kingdom, then it was like I'm doing church, and then it's like now I'm doing like this collaborative thing with Jarvis Leatherby from Night Demon doing Iron Grip. And you know, it's like we've we've tried a little bit of everything, and as you know, we have long talks on the phone when we actually get down to it, and it's like you know, I've been from like, do we, you know, where's the next step? You know, we've put money into marketing, we've done all these things. But you know what has helped me the most? So you know what, to this day, for any bands, anybody that watches this is in a band, the one tried and true way of building your fan base is getting out and playing shows. And you've been the
Yep.
guy that has put me in front of people to shake hands. Sometimes we play in fucking nowhere, South Carolina, and you know it's wet.
Yeah. It happens, right? Yeah. Froze up.
Like playing shows is still the best way.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, you broke up a little bit there, but I think you were asking if it's the best way to build a fan base is to go out and play shows. Absolutely. I mean, there's no substitute for a live show. I mean, recordings are great, promoting them on the internet is great, but people have short attention spans on the internet. They watch your shit for 30 seconds, oh yeah, that's cool, that's neat. They click like, and then they're off to the next thing. Whereas, if they're standing in front of you at a show, watching you play, watching you pour your heart into your what you're doing, it's just like, that's how you build these lifelong fans, you know what I mean?
And they're the ones that matter anyway. Like like you can sit there and try to get all these Spotify listeners. I mean, because I think you and I have watched haunts go from like 36,000 to 8,000 to
To
it
40 or 50 to, yeah, it goes all over the place. Yeah.
it's not it never it's consistent because a we're not paying anybody to fucking playlist our shit. My
Right.
new album's not even on there. What do you think of that anyway? My new album is not on Spotify
Well, why not?
because I hate Spotify. That's why.
I mean, yeah, I
I
don't,
hate I hate social streaming. I actually see
yeah.
the like I think a lot of people, a lot of artists, because the record labels own their shit, they don't actually see their royalties. I
Yeah, no, I
I
know.
look at it.
It's
I get a breakdown and I look at the shit and I'm like, this is fucking horrendous.
I hate that we live by Spotify numbers, especially in the booking world. I mean, it's a real thing, but it's always because um lazy is you're an agent or a promoter. and somebody hits you up and they band X wants to do a show, the first thing you do is you go on fucking Google and you look up band X, right? And so
Yeah.
you're looking at, and it used to be bands were living and dying by their Facebook likes, and now that became a bot fucking hate and nobody gives a shit about Facebook anymore. So now nobody's looking at Facebook. But then it was like Spotify became the new gold. So now everybody's trying to live and die by Spotify. But now we have tools like Chartmetric that tell you exactly where those Spotify listeners are. So, sometimes it doesn't matter if some band has, 500,000 listeners on Spotify. If 90% of them are in fucking Helsinki and we're booking a tour in Pittsburgh, you know what I mean? Then,
Yeah,
so,
and also, another my single, I did put the singles up there. So like I didn't isolate Spotify entirely. I just don't think like moving forward until laws are, I know there's a new musicians union out fighting for laws on regulating commercial digital distribution, streaming revenues, all this living wage for musicians, yada yada. Trent Reznor just did a huge thing today talking about there's a whole tier of musicians that are suffering tremendously because of Spotify that back in the day, would be able to be pretty self-sufficient, be able to do their thing, right? So so for me, it was like, I'm just not gonna put the new record on there. I'm gonna let everybody wait if they want to listen to it for nothing, and like I have to make 0.0000009 cents or whatever for per stream. You could listen to it years later, and I put the digital download on Bandcamp for $5. So it's really cheap. So
yeah.
it's like, and I did this before. I did this in 2020 during the pandemic with my album Flashback. I didn't put it on Spotify for 2 fucking years. And it beat out my most popular records as far as digital downloads go. It beat Burst in a Flame and it beat Mind Freeze like
Okay.
tenfold. Like
Okay.
just
Well,
annihilated. I was just like, wow. I was like, so you don't put it on the internet, and eventually somebody wants to buy it. I don't care if any dude, honestly, bring back LimeWire, fucking steal my shit. Just I would rather, if you're a broke ass and can't afford music, fine, but like lining the pockets of these corporate conglomerates like Daniel Eck, who reports his business at a loss, but also is like, I made $2.4 billion this year. Well,
right.
obviously you made something, guy. Like, how did you
Yeah.
make that? Like, I mean, he probably has his hands in a lot of cookie jars, but he had to get it from somewhere, and Spotify is like his thing. So he had to have got the money from that to put into all the other things. And it's not our fault that he's reporting a loss. It's because he has a shitty system. It's like it doesn't work. Even things like Netflix and all these, they're raising their prices. I think I pay like right now with all my subscription shit on Hulu. I think I pay $39.99 a month right now to have like all of it. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
basically paying cable TV almost at that
Oh yeah.
point. So it's like
Yeah.
Spotify needs to fucking step it up, and give people, you got to be able to survive. Like, do you want the music to suffer? But at the end of the day, I know it. We've talked about like, Spotify this, Spotify that. And you remember I had to take Burst in the Flame down just this year because I own it again. Shadow Kingdom,
Oh,
and that had like over, that one song had way over 1 million streams, and I had to erase it
oh wow.
from, it's gone. So like if you were to be like, yeah, check out Haunt, they're really popular. Nah, that
It
million,
doesn't
those
show up
those
anymore.
millions are gone. And it's like, what do you say to the guy? Like, oh well, he got the licensing back and he had to remove it off the internet. You have to go into this like deep explanation. To me, it's more like, look, give these dudes a shot. We'll work hard. We'll do whatever we have to do. to get there. But man, I just want to thank you first off for all the work that you've put in for me over the years, because like honestly, I don't think, no matter how much internet praise I get, I think that getting in front of people, shaking their hands, and like we were saying, meeting those lifers,
Yeah,
that's where it's at, man. Like you can't fuck with that. That shit is serious. When they get to see you and see you what you do, you're sweating,
right,
like I'm not sweating on the internet. You look how dry my hair
right,
is right now.
right, right,
It's all fucking coiffed and beautiful right now.
right.
Like I look
Not
like
sweaty and smelly,
shit,
been in a van for 8 hours and loaded your shit
bro.
up the stairs.
I mean, I'm a fucking train wreck on tour. I'm sweating, dying, like it's a whole different world on that level. And I know there's a lot of dudes out there, like that, but like, man, you've oh shit, my phone. You
You're
you've
good.
done a lot. You've done a lot for a lot of bands. You did shit with Sam, my bass player's old band, War Cloud, or he's still in it, but I know they're in the Ape
They're in
Machine
different
old phase,
cities. Yeah.
where it's like everybody lives somewhere differently, which makes it complicated.
Yep.
So what's going on? What do you got? What do you got in the pipeline right now, man, for Ape Machine? What's up with you guys?
So right now we're finally wrapping up this record. We started working on it back in 2019 with Navarro in the band, and shit, we worked on it through the shutdowns and all that bullshit. Dana was coming out here almost every weekend for a while, and we were hashing through all these songs and sending them to Caleb, and he was writing lyrics. And anyway, but like I said earlier, we kind of reshaped the sound a bit because we don't have Brian in the band, and he was a part of the songwriting influence. But it's gone a little more metal, I guess, in a way. Um, but it's pretty much done. The record's just about. I mean, it is done, but I think Caleb has a couple things he wants to tweak on the vocals, and then that record will get in the pipeline for release. And we're not touring at the moment because Caleb has another kid coming literally any day. Um, and I don't want to stress him out and even like start handing him itineraries right now, when he's in the middle
No.
of that. So we're not we're not stressing right now. We're just going to get this record done, get it in the pipeline, and then we'll.
Yeah, I mean that's a tough one. When you're about to have a kid and you're looking down the barrel of like, oh, let's go be on the road and try to make some money, and explain to everybody, all right, well, you have to do all of this. You're leaving your family with like all
Like a
this
whole bunch of
extra.
shit to do.
Yeah, I mean, I've only been home for like a week and a half, and like already my wrists are all fucked up from doing dishes and folding laundry and all the shit that like, I mean, I couldn't believe the pile up of laundry I came home to. I was just like, well, I'm like the housemaid, bro, because like this is my job, just bullshitting
Yeah.
around, pretending like I'm doing stuff. It's like, so
Well,
so
you're doing stuff.
I'm the I'm the maid. I'm like I take pride in my folding of clothes and stuff, but man, I had like amount like Rex has. I know you got kids, and they have so much fucking clothes, man. Like
Oh
it's
yeah.
like it's like a never. You thought you
It's
had a
like
lot of clothes.
piles
You're like,
everywhere.
fuck,
Yeah.
bro. It's like how many fucking pairs of pants are you wearing a week, bro? Like 20? Like you went through all your fucking pants in a week? What?
Oh
Because
yeah.
that's just how kids work. Like I wear one pair of pants for a month. It's
Right.
like I'm a grungy motherfucker. So it's like, oh, I gotta wash my pants finally. But man, yeah, that's tough. We're about to deal with the same thing. Andy Lee, my guitar player, we just did that run. You booked the shows with Tanith. Another
Yep.
another thing you did for another band. I mean, like again, it's like people don't know that there's always somebody, there's a face behind these like booking agencies and like you just happen to be the face of Haunt. You've been, and like we've talked about it until the day that the big bad wolf comes knocking on my door and being like, "All right, Trev, you're in the big times now." There's
Right.
really no reason for us to really depart. You've delivered to me always, man, and I appreciate that. I don't think anybody else
Well, I'm
would.
happy
Nobody
happy
else
to
would
do
put
it.
nobody else would put in that work for me, man. Honestly, like I've been with them, and when you're on a bigger agency or even in the mid tier, you get lost in there, and you get, like they don't want to do it. They're like, I got all this
Yeah.
other shit to do, and it's like, I know you don't
Yeah.
get rich off me, but you make a little bit. I mean, it's cool. I'm like, I never complain about it either. I'm like, Ian has to get paid. He books all this fucking shit. This is one of the hardest parts about it. I hate talking to people. We just had to deal with somebody. Just I don't want to put him on blast, but I mean, motherfucker was hitting me up like crazy, and then like hitting you, and then he
Oh, right.
cancels the show. It's like, okay, you mother.
Yeah.
I was thinking about him today because every time you send me an engagement report, I've been putting it in the calendar, like in a list, so I could give it to John G here pretty soon when it starts to fill out more complete, just getting it ready instead of doing it
Yeah.
all at one time. You know what I mean? But like, oh shit, I got to
Nice.
scroll through my emails now and do that. And I was thinking about that guy as well. That motherfucker was hitting me up every fucking day, like
Yeah.
8 times
Yeah.
a day, and nothing against him, but it's just like, oh
Yeah.
god,
Yeah,
like
just redirect them to me. I mean, that's what we yeah.
yeah,
That's what
what I did. I was
that's
like,
what we
yeah,
deal with.
go, man. I don't know, man. Like, leave me alone. I'm just trying to fucking survive over here. But
Yeah.
yeah. So so anyway, man. We're about reaching that hour point, and I've been trying to kill it at an hour because I think your people's attention spans. I did a couple where they were like
Like 2
so
hours
long.
long.
Oh
Yeah.
no, dude, like three, and I know, and I already know that our conversation just on the phone. I'm like, hey, let me call you for a minute. Yeah, hour and a half later, I'm like, well, I just ate up your whole day, bro. Like I'll let you go. But
It's all
I
good.
know it's good, and I know that like hopefully then I hope Ape Machine gets back to California. If not, I know that I will probably be seeing you in Portland in August, at least at Dante's.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully, if you're
Oh, yeah,
around.
absolutely. Oh, I'll be there.
So, so
Oh,
that'll
yeah.
that'll be nice. It's been a while since I've seen you. Last time was high water mark 20 April 2022. So
Was
that'll
that
be
yeah, okay.
yeah, I'm looking at the tour poster there, Haunt, Screamer, Traveler, Saber, because
Oh, yeah.
we haven't gone back up there since. Because you remember with
Okay.
Seven Sisters, we did like East Coast,
That's right,
and
and
then
then
we
you did
did
some more East
and
Coast
then we
stuff.
did we did Hellfire, which was East Coast. Again, we haven't been up that way in forever. So yeah, so I've seen you here in Fresno though, so
Yeah, we were there
it
not
wasn't that
what,
long ago. You guys did like a little.
July?
You had like a little week or two run or something.
Yeah, I think that was last July, maybe, something
I don't
like that.
remember. We went and got food. That's all I know. We went and had some Mediterranean food with Nick Morris, not Nick Navarro.
Oh,
But
yeah.
and then oh no, dude, we played together. What am I fucking talking about?
Yeah,
We
yeah,
played
yeah,
at
we
Fulton.
played at Fulton, right? Yeah.
But what that was last year though.
Yeah, that was last summer.
We did
So,
we
yeah.
did get a little hangs. We got a little Mexican food hangs in after the.
Yeah.
You were on the road though at that point. I mean, that's a whole other spectrum. But everybody, check out fucking Ian's band Ape Machine. They got a great discography. Even if you're not like into the heavy music, I get not heavy music. I can't really describe your music because it's like it's different. It hard rock, heavy stoner music is what I'm gonna say right now.
Sure.
Maybe
That
not
works.
maybe not such an emphasis on the stoner, but
Right, right.
definitely on the technical side. of heavy metal though too, because Ian's guitar playing, like I said, is kind of a league of its own. Always, always noodly, nice arpeggios. Um, very, very good use of effects. Something that I've never been good at. Effects are definitely not my wheelhouse, but now that I'm in the quad core realm, it's actually gotten a lot better because it's just like you click a fucking preset and you're like, oh, that's the sound I've been trying to get for 20 years.
Nice.
Here it is.
Nice. I gotta
You
check
know,
that
you're
thing
like,
out.
I never got it on the 500 effects pedals I bought. You know,
Right,
like
right. I know. I try and limit to just a couple
all of a
couple
sudden
good
I got
ones,
the
but
fucking floor unit and it's like it's all gold. But anyway, also, if you're up in the Portland area, need to record, Magic Closet Studios up there. Ian is a great. First off, since his musical abilities are, in my opinion, are great. That means anybody that comes to you, you're gonna at least have some. You'll give guidance where some studios give none. They're you know what I mean. Like I've recorded places like, oh yeah, sounds great. No, we got to go do it again like 500 times. Like you're
like,
like,
okay, you're done.
how many times is it gonna I'm gonna sound the same, I'm gonna suck the same every fucking time. But and also, I mean, um thank you, man, for your time on here. And I really enjoyed
Having me on, man.
talking to you. It's been a while since I seen your face, so it's always good to see, even though it's been like so blurry because of my internet. I need to figure something out. Like I think like at some point I just need to get AT&T over here and be like, look, motherfuckers, like I do all this
Yeah,
internet shit. Like, what the fuck do I need to do out here? Like, how
yeah.
much closer can I get to the router anyway? It's like
Some fiber optic or something. I don't know.
I'm already on fiber optic.
Yeah, well then it should
Yeah,
be
I got,
good,
dude.
but
I mean, I
I don't
paid.
know.
You know me, man. I got the fucking whatever their top tier is. I'm already there, man. Like there ain't any better. I'm already
Okay.
I've already dealt with the struggle. I'm just like, what's next? What do I need independent internet out here in the studio? Like,
Mm,
what's the deal? I got my extenders everywhere and all these things,
just
but
gotta plug the cable into your brain.
yeah, and anybody that wants to book Haunt, hit up Ian because obviously
Yeah,
don't hit me up
yeah,
because
please do.
I will definitely just be flinging you over to him anyway because like I don't really like that part of the business. And I have to say that I mean on your for being a guy that's a band guy, a tour guy, a dad guy, a music studio guy, and then a fucking booking agent, you have fucking balls of steel, my friend, because that is like I don't ever, people fucking think I do a lot, but like realistically, all I
You
do
do.
is like I just ship a lot of stuff. Like that's really
Yeah,
like
well.
at the end of the day, I'm like stuck at the computer inside, like printing labels and like sticking them on things and having to do orders and stuff. But like it's so much easier because I'm paying people to make my shit. You have to get people to pay us money to go fucking
Right.
play these gigs. You're like, hey, it's like it's almost like you're a beggar in a sense. It's like we're musical,
Oh, yeah.
we're busking, we're professional buskers. Like
Oh, yeah,
put
I
the
know,
hat
I
out, like
know.
here's the hat,
Right.
put money in it for
Can
we
we can
all,
we get some money for this? Can we get some money for this? How
you
about a little
know.
bit more?
But
Yeah, can we get a
anyways,
little more?
but do check out Ape Machine. I know that your guys' new record, you sent me stuff a while back and it was sounding good even then. So I'm curious to hear the final thing, and I'll definitely shoot you guys some love on that. And I'll see you in August anyways, but I'll talk to you before then. But thanks, brother. Thanks for
Oh, yeah.
coming on, and it's been an honor to have you here and talking with you.
Yeah,
So thank you, man. Have a great weekend. All the best. Love you,
you
man.
too.
And I'll
Love
see
you
you
too,
later,
man.
brother. Peace out, man. Later, brother. Cheers.